You did it last time.
No, you did. Hello, welcome back to Command Protocols. We're on episode 16 now. We had a bit of a short hiatus, but we've not really been. I've personally not been playing that many Necrons because times are changing. So trying to uh,
Branch out.
branch out, take a bit of a break. But how have you been anyway in this last 2 weeks or whatever it's been?
Yeah, I've been pretty good, thanks. I've played some Necrons, so I've also been playing some Death Guard.
Oh, see,
I've
we're
been
all.
I've been threatening to do it for years. I always said when the Codex came out, I would
No,
give
I
it
was
a
just
go.
waiting for them to be OP. So needed a broken army.
Well, they're pretty good. They're pretty
Nice.
good. We'll talk about that in length, I guess, later on, but
Hmm.
nothing wrong with that.
Yes. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about some of the lists that have been popping up. Not very many, but there's been some very cool ones that we've
Interesting
seen.
ones. Yeah.
We're going to talk about uh,
You forgot
upcoming
already? Wow.
upcoming tournament that we're doing. That I'm going to. I'm going to Germany this weekend with Innis, Nas, and a few others to play. It's all GW terrain, so say what I'm taking, why I'm taking it, and then we're going to talk about the meta, what it's kind of shaping up to be, because all of these new armies have dropped, and we're coming into a new pack as well, so everything's going to be changing. So
Yeah.
what are we going to be doing to kind of fight that? Because it's quite a big change up at the moment.
It's
But
going to be very chaotic because we're going to be dropping a lot of codexes very quickly now as well. So
yeah, they're trying to fire them out rather than how slow they've been.
that's because they've been so slow. Everyone's been falling asleep waiting for them. So now they're like, oh crap, we've only got a year to go of this edition. We better drop some codexes to keep people happy before we start talking about 11th. So,
Yeah, it'd be nice if they did like an extra year, maybe, because
nah, I
it's
think
taking
people
too
are happy
long.
with the 3 year cycle.
No. So yeah, if you like the content that we do, I might as well say at the start of the episode, please like, comment, subscribe. Just comment something. Doesn't even have to be anything constructive. Just get the algorithm going and all that jazz. And yeah, thank you for watching. So, for what we're going to jump into first.
No, I've just played an RTT on Monday, yesterday. Yes.
Nice.
Yesterday, I took Star Shatter this time.
Mm,
New Death Guard were out in force. It was 14 players. There were 4 Death Guard armies.
nice.
Yeah, I think that's going to be. I think that's a good example of what's going to happen around the northwest here. There's a lot of Death Guard players, so I think there's going to be a lot more Death Guard people showing up.
So, why did you take the list you took, and what was the list?
So my list was Silent King, 3 Doomsday Arcs, which is pretty standard for your Star Shatter list. I had the Command Barge with the rerolls. I had 2 single Scorpec Lords with the -1 damage enhancement and the fallback enhancement because I had 10 points spare at the end. We had Crypto Thralls, 1 Blob of Wraiths with a Techno, obviously, and Flayed Ones, and a couple of destroyers for actions and stuff like that, and screening. And I
Nice.
took it because if you haven't been aware of what's been going on with Death Guard, the Death Shroud are pretty good now, and they're appearing in basically every list, and they one-tap the Warriors with ease at this point. I think if you stack all the buffs on, depends on the detachment they use, but if you stack the buffs on them, then they can take out the Warrior squad. So it's pretty hard to really get the best out of the Warriors when they've got that threat because they can come down and charge you from 6 inches away, which is pretty guaranteed with a reroll. So I wanted to change it up, and I thought, well, what kills 4 wound Death Shroud? Well, Doomsday Arc's pretty good at that.
The Arcs are still good at doing that. So.
Yeah, and having played Awakened for a while without any rerolls from the King, how nice it was to have rerolls from the Barge and the King on basically my whole army because of how I positioned. It just felt so strong. It felt so much better. My damage output was so much more consistent, and so I knew what I was. It depended on their saves, obviously, but I could be pretty certain of what kind of saves number I was going to be handing them. And then obviously having ignore mods on the King as well as rerolls with from the Barge next to the King, is It's pretty nice. So yeah, that was the reason I took it. I wanted to take some
Mhm.
Catans, but they're just so expensive that
They are very
two,
expensive still.
two Catans, because one doesn't really do enough. They can kind of ignore one in a small area of the battlefield, but two is a bit more tricky. But that's 600 points basically, and yeah, it's a lot of stuff you're losing for that. So I went with the Shooty Army, and yeah, it did quite well. I played Combined Arms Guard round one. Um, got in a bit of a shooting match with some tanks, but came out victorious because DDA's hitting on twos and re-rolling ones is pretty nice.
Oh, what! I can't wait to try that out again.
Yeah. And then round two was the inevitable game against Death Guard. My friend Will. I must be his nemesis about now. We've played a lot of games. It was a close one. He played very cagey because of how I positioned myself. Didn't really give him any openings that would give him value for his units because of the amount of shooting back that I had. So I felt very comfortable at the start of the game. I'm looking at it going, yeah, this is really strong position for me. I'm scoring more points. I'm denying him primary. And then it just kind of went downhill from there a little bit. And by the end of the game, I was almost tabled. I won the game on points, but the game seemed to like slip away from me a little bit because the damage output was just so strong. I did make a mistake where I let his Death Shroud tag my Wraiths and the Doomsday Arc, and if I'd had the Doomsday Arc just half an inch away instead, then I could have then fall back with the Wraiths and shot them. But as it was, he had to just stay there and shoot something else instead. So I never really got. So the race eventually died, but they did a good job of tanking the Death Shroud for a couple of turns. Apart from that, it was, just they have a lot more shooting than we do, so we have to be very careful on how we engage. And then round three, I played CSM Pack Bound, and despite him rolling an ungodly amount of fives, I think at one point he has Vindicator shot my race, rolled a six, so he got 10 shots, and out of the 10 shots, I think he rolled 8 5-ups. So he had 18 hits, which converted to 16 wounds. I managed to make about average saves, and then with the Feel No Pains and the way he rolled his damage, he basically killed two Wraiths, which was quite lucky. But yeah, so I finished 3-0, came second. It felt good. I could have done with a little bit more melee pressure, I think, but this was nice. The DDAs were really really cool, and we was on Games Workshop terrain as well, so there was plenty of lines of sight. And with the advancing DDAs, I could easily get from one to another to shoot things. So you couldn't really hide in any of the matchups, which was good to have some mobility. I was quite surprised actually at how speedy they were.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Star Shatter's back on the menu. Really?
Yeah, it's looking pretty tasty into especially Death Guard, but it's just the
Yeah.
consistent damage, and obviously a lot of people are seeing Richard Siegler's list. A lot of people are copying it, playing it themselves,
Yeah.
and it is a really good list. It's very greedy, but you can play it. It just destroys the primary, so you can play it.
It does until they dump six Death Shard, and then you struggle to deal with those six because, I mean, he's got two squads of Wraiths, which is a really good tar pit, but they don't reanimate as well as they do in Awaken because you haven't got the strat. So as soon as they take that first real hit, unless, it goes well for you, you need to deal with it then and there, and sometimes you just can't do that because he's got less shooting and stuff. Against other armies, it's really strong. But I didn't think that the two Wraith Clubs would do well because they don't do anything to Death Shroud. The Death Shroud is saving on threes, they're winning on fives, they're hitting on fours because they just don't stand on an objective at that point. So I think you're killing like one Death Shroud every battle round, basically, with the Wraiths, and that's not good enough because you can't kill them quick enough there. And then apart from the King, he doesn't have any other melee in his list, so. Yeah, I'm not sure how that list would do specifically into Death Guard, but other armies is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. I've not actually tested anything recently because all of these books have come out with armies that I play. So I've been forced to play these armies because I really want to practice different armies as well. But it is also really good to learn how they work because then I can learn how to play against them.
Hmm.
So it's fine, and we'll go into that in a bit. So, do we want to talk about some of the lists that were
Yeah, we can
on this
have a look at.
weekend? So,
There's one very spicy list that
yeah,
makes
we'll
me
save that till
very
the end.
happy.
We'll get to the spiciest last.
Hmm.
So, I'll just share my screen.
Share the screen.
Yeah, we're doing it, boys. So this is the first one. So it's a lad who went 5 and X and then 1.
Yeah, 5 wins and a draw.
5-0-1. And his
Yep.
draw was for round 1 as well. 95 draw,
Nice.
which is crazy.
Submarine.
Yeah, he certainly did. So he is running
Star Shatter.
Star Shatter. He has
Yeah.
the Silent King, Imatech, Command Barge, Single Technomancer,
Hmm.
Hexmark, 5 Immortals to go with
Imatech.
Imatech.
Yeah, it has to be.
Which I don't think is necessary, but that's
I
me.
also agree with that.
Double thralls. Sorry, single thralls, double flayed ones.
Hmm.
Ophidians, but
Yeah.
triple single destroyer.
Yeah, I can do. I
Wraith
can see that.
reanimator.
And
Double
two
double.
DDAs. So I mean, it's similar to my list, but he's got the Stormlord, and like I found in my 3 games that I wasn't struggling for CP. That I would regularly have 3 stockpiled, and I only ever used the -1 to wound when it was absolutely critical. And then obviously Ophidians, but we hate them. But he doesn't have the melee counterpunch with the Scorpet Lords, which is why
Yeah,
I
I'd have
went
to
with them.
lord actually with
I did
the
want a hex. I did want a hex mark, but I preferred because if he's going to hang around, the DDAs or the king, then you kind of want something that's going to countercharge and help you clear away the melee pressure. And Hexmark doesn't quite do that.
Mhm. And I just love the Silent King all the time, and I just would. I
Mm.
can't. Like for a short time, I was running command bars with wraiths just to try it out before I did. Everyone doing the double, like
Yeah,
Silent King and command bar and wraiths. But yeah, I really like the Silent King in Star Shatter. I feel like it's so important.
it's probably the best attachment for him. Hypercrypts helps his mobility, but with the tax on the uppy downy now with the enhancement, I think Star Shatter is probably the best place for him.
Yeah,
And
-1 damage, move through walls, advance and shoot,
exactly,
reactive move. What else?
there's
Yeah,
there's
fall
just
back and shoot.
there's so many
-1 to be wounded, +1 to.
there's so many good things with him there, but when you take the barge as well, it allows you to have the extra rerolls all over the battlefield because you've basically got this 6-inch aura around a big base from the king and a relatively wide model from the barge, which just covers quite a lot of your side of the battlefield. But it kind of prices me into wanting more Doomsday arcs to kind of benefit from those
Yeah.
rerolls. Because if you look at this list, he's got the race, which is probably going to be near the command barge. So they're going to get rerolls, but they don't do a lot of damage anyway. And then you've just got the king and the 2 Doomsday arcs, and the rest of the stuff isn't going to be getting involved in the fight, really, apart from maybe the flayed ones, but they probably just get traded early. So, yeah, it is nice that having those rerolls. It really is.
Yeah, it's just a good, like it's a normal list that we kind of see, nothing absolutely bone wild. But the next one gets slightly wilder. So this one was Joe Robertson. I believe he went 5-0 this weekend.
Nice.
He was our one event win.
Yep.
But he took a list that Andy had actually ran previously, and then I'd also tested it out in this couple of scrim games.
Similar, but not exactly the same.
For
But
his, you mean? For
yeah,
this
for his
guy's,
like
yeah.
Tesseract Vaulted Star Shatters felt so good.
Yeah.
Hit
So
move through
obviously,
it.
yeah, the title, moving a Tesseract Vault outside of Hypercrypt is easy. I will not regret this decision.
Well, he didn't regret it clearly because he won the event. So
Yeah, great
you
name.
know,
Hexmark with the -1 damage, obviously. Tenomancer with the Wraiths. I feel like it's really needed in this detachment.
yes,
Like some kind of primary
yeah.
holding thing, because there's strats that they benefit from. They hit on threes if they're stuck to fight stuff on objectives. There's a lot
And
of reasons to take them.
the Technomancer healing a Tesseract Vault up an extra D3 is actually really nice as well.
Yes, my number one most forgotten ability on Necrons. I always
Yeah.
forget that.
I mean, you remember the day when he was loan up and you ran him with the
Oh
plus
god,
one to
yeah,
hit enhancement in the index, right? I mean,
yeah, I did do that. Yeah.
I was running 2 volts with that enhancement and him, and it was just I would have the reanimator, so I was always getting the 2D3 heals, plus I was getting the
Mm-hmm.
D3 from him as well. So
Yeah,
it
I won an
just
RTT with Index Necrons before the book came out with Vault and all that. But that's when you could like indirect on twos
yeah.
and so on.
Oh
So
yeah, that was so nice. How much have you got? I've got 2d6 plus 6 with double blast at 10-3-3 dev hitting on twos. Ignoring your mind once wound and your armor of contempt. Cool.
yeah, so good. 2 volt time.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, Silent King, Reanimator, Spider, because they're quite just really good as a package together. Reanimator's like not completely necessary. I mean, I guess that goes with the Wraith. Sorry. So
The
yeah,
reanimator is
without the
great.
Wraiths, it's
It doesn't combo with the vault very well because the reanimator's a walker, so you have to measure to the base, which means that he has to stand base to base 3 inches away from the vault to get the extra wounds back. Because the vault down to the base of the reanimator is nearly 5 inches for the outside bits. So he has to sit inside the vault to actually heal the vault. So unless you're a sadist, don't even bother trying that one.
exactly yeah. So yeah, and then he's got DDA. Let's get rid of that. 2 DDAs, flayed ones, Locust Destroyer, Vault. So
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the difference in this list to mine was I was running Scorpec Destroyers, and he's running Wraiths. So I had a bit more melee counter punch, and he's got the Wraiths for holding objectives,
mhm.
basically. And it's a nice addition as well. To be fair,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, the race it works. It's got good damage. I'm assuming he probably played on GW terrain, so it's a
what's
lot more
the
open.
points total? Is it 2K on the nose, or has he got 5?
It's 2K.
That's a shame because I'd look at that hex mark and go maybe that should be a Scorpec load, but other than that, it's hard to like change anything in this list because the points are so tight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and then we've got the final list, which
Which is the
is
spicy one, right?
yeah. So
This is the spice.
Walter, a lot of people know who Walter is. He's applied for Team USA.
Yeah,
He's the guy that initially was doing the Psychomancer jazz, and I met him very, very briefly at Home Nations. I didn't
yeah,
get to chat to him properly for very long,
yeah,
but he's taken some other random
yeah.
wild list. To...
I met him in America where he came over and told me off for playing Hypercrypt.
and here we are. He's back on it.
He's back
Hypercrypt.
on Hypercrypt, yeah.
Triple Psychomancer.
Maniac.
Crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
Death Marks. Triple Scarabs.
Yeah,
Reanimator Spider. Triple DDA. Triple Obelisk. So
yeah.
we
Now,
said in the Hypercrypt tier list
called it.
the obelisks were not shit,
They were
and
good.
it might be some kind of meme, but they're 300 points each for what they are. They're not shit, and
No,
like the movement debuff is good.
it's
Like they
legit
are.
good. It
He went
is.
four and one with it. It's clearly doing
So
something.
I did try triple obelisk in on TTS, but I tried it with triple Catan backup instead of triple DDA. Simply because it's like, well, the obelisk can chew through trash and slow things down, gives the Catans time to get there, and then also, it counters the melee pressure, which will kill the obelisk, but
Mm.
it didn't quite work. But the ability on the obelisk is ridiculously strong. If this
He
becomes
clearly wanted to.
a meta build, then
He was sick of playing against host of Ascension GSC, and he was like, I want to shove triple obelisk out into the
well,
open.
when you think about it, triple obelisk, triple doomsday arc is the ideal match because if someone's got a big blob of like melee infantry that are staged, and you want to kill them with a DDA and hypercrypt, you can pick up and come down, but you always have to come down that's close enough within their threat range. But if you come down with an obelisk behind you and go, Obelisk says you're not moving nearer to me. The DDA gets to shoot, and then you don't shoot back because they're a melee army. And then all of
Yeah,
a
you can
sudden,
slow 3 things down.
you can slow
Does
three
it
things down.
half or
It,
-2?
I think it's halved movement, charge, and advance.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
And if they fly, then every time they make any kind of move, fall back, move, consolidate, pile, and charge, they can take mortal wounds on a 4-up.
Yeah, so it's actually not shit at all.
It is not shit. It's just, can you find room for 900 points of obelisks? That's the problem. Like, for me, I always also wanted the 3 hex marks in there, but, the obelisks have deep strike too, and they can do it turn 1, which is even more funny. The biggest issue is the lack of AP on the anti-chaff guns. You've got your spider with no AP, your DDAs with no AP, and your obelisks with no AP, and that's it.
Yeah.
And your scarabs with no AP, because I guess
If you get some mass 2-up save, you may struggle.
Well, yeah, but can they ever get anywhere? That's the problem. They will never get to the mid ball.
Well, yeah.
If you go second, and they don't come close to you, and
Obelisks
you pick up 3
have
obelisks.
an invuln?
No, well they do. One of them can get a 4-up pinball.
You can give one.
Otherwise, just a 2-up save, and probably cover.
Yeah, 300 points for what it is not terrible. I mean,
he's also only picking up two units because he hasn't got the
he doesn't
for the third pickup.
Fuck it with ball. Obelisk starts in reserve because he's got deep strike, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't need to. He can start on the table and uppy downy turn 1.
Well, he can just pick up 2. Like you can.
Yeah, but they also, because there's the size, they can actually move through terrain.
Yeah, they can.
But
super tall and locked in.
So if anyone wants to lend me 3 obelisks, I would gladly play them. But I'm not going to spend the money to buy 3 obelisks because that is ridiculous.
No, it's psychopath behaviour, I think. You better just get a cereal box.
Yeah. No, man.
All right, well.
But I'm glad to see. I'm so glad to see 3 obelisks doing well.
Yeah, he's being innovative, which I love.
He's just taking the piss. This is a massive flex, basically.
Yeah.
His local meta, he's just like, you know what, I'm going to disrespect you guys with 3 obelisks.
I don't care that your Death Shroud have gained 1 inch of movement. How about -3?
Yeah. How about you can't advance and you can advance, but you're only going to go 3 inches max, and then your charge is going to be pitiful as well. Yeah. So, but I mean, they're not dying, but you just got to slow them down.
Yeah. And then it's a bit harder to read now, but we're at 51% thanks to a couple of that.
We
got one of them win, 46 players, so we're like still pretty middle high end.
Very middling.
It's not exactly, well, Agents is a bad example, but who's 12,000 Suns? Some people still doing well with them though because they're still good.
Yeah, well, they're going to be the faction specialists who just refuse to change. I mean, obviously, Death Guard right at the top there is no surprise.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
Emperor's Children, still all right, still good. So, speaking of which, Death Guard, Emperor's Children.
Yeah.
What do we think about these menaces of the meta? What do we think?
Well, I've been playing Death Guard. I've had only 3 games, admittedly.
Mm-hmm.
They were fun to play with. Obviously, it's early days, so finding the right list is not yet been solved. But they felt really powerful. They really did. They were resilient as they should be, but their damage output in certain profiles is just horrible. It's so good.
The 3 champions detachment's really good, isn't it?
Well, I didn't even play champions. I've just been playing the index. Basically.
I think that's the best, probably the best one of all hammers. Hammer of Mortarion.
It's the best all-rounder, definitely. It has good buffs for a lot of the army. The champions one definitely has a higher skill ceiling, I think. You're going to get more from it if you really, really build a really good
list. Does a lot of damage.
It can do, but if you do things slightly wrong, make a few mistakes, it's more punishing as well. I also been having a look at the Death Lord's Chosen, the one where they take mortal wounds when they in their command phase if they're in contagion or afflicted. And there's so many ways to make things afflicted that you can just go right here. Half of your army is afflicted. You're going to take a lot of mortal wounds, and then I'm going to do more mortal wounds to you, and you're just going to melt that way, and it looks quite fun
I
to
played
play.
against the what are they called? The zombie guys.
Poxwalkers.
Yeah, I played against that detachment yesterday with Thousand Suns,
Hmm.
and it was cute for a little bit, and then I just would just kill an entire squad at a time with one rubric squad.
Yeah, it's not the best attachment. It's a fun one, but it's not the best
Yeah,
attachment.
and we got to the end of the game and we realised that he'd forgotten to bring on the free poxwalkers that he got. So it was just not a good example, but it would be fun
Yeah,
to try and play against it again because some people won't be able to deal with that kind of horde. Some armies.
the fact that they're all 5-up fielder pain rather than, like I say, a 5-up save is actually more resilient than you think, because a lot of the time the horde armies have a 5-up save, but you shoot them with AP2 and they don't get a
Yeah,
save,
and
so
the
they just
T4 as
die.
well.
And the T4, and they can come back if they do actually kill some
Yeah,
non-monster vehicles, but that doesn't come up very often because they don't do a lot of damage.
yeah. It's Typhus when he zaps something.
But only when he zaps.
Yeah,
So,
or combat, right?
no, just when he zaps.
Oh, just when he zaps.
It's only the zap that counts for Typhus, as I found out
Okay.
in one of my games. And it's cute, but I mean, if you got any kind of relatively decent anti-chaff shooting, they're not going to be able to kill that shooting particularly easily once you kill the drones, obviously. And then the rest of it, it's cute, but it's not like 120 Primaris Sword Brethren or 120 Warriors kind of difficult to shift,
Yeah, yeah. So, like, to build against Death Guard, as I said, that's why the Warriors, they're not as good as they once were, unfortunately. The meta's shifting. Like, World Eaters, soon to be. Well, sorry, World Eaters, Emperor's Children, Death Guard, soon to be Space Wolves, are all really suited to dealing with the Warriors, and even T Suns, to be honest, because they've always been a pain in the ass for
Yeah.
for Warriors. Like it's going to become
Very hostile.
quite a problem for. There's so many people obviously starting to tech for them now.
Hmm.
There's like obviously in the UK, we saw at the ITT that everyone. Are you fiddling with something? That everyone was playing Awakened, or a lot of people were playing Awakened,
Yeah.
and now people are going to start building for it. It's become incredibly popular. When I first started building it, it wasn't that popular. Only people only just starting to play it, but now everybody's starting to play it.
This is the thing about pioneering the meta, is you come up with the new hotness, but then you have to be good enough to get away from it before everybody catches up. And
So
everyone's
it's
starting to catch up now. So
yeah, it's changing. We need stuff to deal with what is coming. So
yeah,
Forge Fiends, Hell Brutes, Berserks for World Eaters,
you know what? Kill
Death Shroud Terminators, PBCs,
Doomsday Arcs,
whatever for thingy, and then Emperor's Children.
Doomsday
The
Arcs.
Yeah, well, Emperor's Children is playstyle. Like you need to
Hmm.
know how to beat Coterie,
You,
and having something that's good against Demon Princes is also quite helpful.
well, Catan's ideally would be good against them.
Yeah, but it's yeah.
You
Like
have to be you have
Catan
to be
is
able
good against that.
you have to be able to tank the mortal wounds. So
Yeah,
we start to run a spider, which would probably be good against Thousand
you just
Suns.
need to stop when you play against Coterie. Just do not give them a kill turn one. That
Cheap
is the
shit.
number one rule. Do not give them a kill turn one. It doesn't matter if you do not go into the mid board at all with a unit that will die, because you do not want to give them a kill. They can only charge one unit with one thing because that's how their army works. But if you give them that kill on the first turn, then it just makes the damage just go all the way up. They're not even that they're not that good if you don't give them a kill early, because they need the reroll ones to hit to actually start getting the Blastmasters online.
Yeah.
So just do not give a kill,
See,
basically.
it's a weird one because the Tessera Volt's really good into them. Tessera Volt's really good into Thousand Suns, and it'd be really good into World Eaters as well, especially with their 3-wound Exalted.
And no Feel No Pain.
But it's not so good into Death Guard,
Yeah, I mean,
unfortunately. None
Death
of the
Shroud exclusively, but I feel like everything else is probably fine into.
well, on average, it doesn't indirect kill a drone. which is a
He's
shame because
T10.
you need to get 4. He's got 10 wounds. It's T9,
Yeah.
so you are winning on 3s, but you got to get 4 wounds through, which is not
Mm.
easy. Indirect because you're going to get a maximum of 9 shots, and you're hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s probably.
Yeah, yeah.
So it doesn't consistently kill 1 indirect. It can do, but it's not consistent. Against the Death Shroud, your 3 damage weapon, your Flamer's winning on 5s, and your Tesla's winning on 4s into 2-up saves. So the damage output into the unit specifically is drastically reduced. The anti-character snipe doesn't do anything now because the character with 6 wounds have a 4 feel no pain.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you can look at it, but then they've got the Plague Marines, which are now T6, so your flamers are worse against them as well. And then at the moment, it's quite hull heavy, and the Volt isn't a big fan of hull heavy builds. So if it was a Poxwalker build, fantastic, easy kill. But
Yeah, and
it,
Death Guard. I mean, Empress. Like, if you want to play, if you want to avoid the Death Guard match, if you're playing for teams or whatever, if you want to avoid the Death Guard match, then Revolt is still good.
it's
But
not shit.
if you wanted to play, like, you're going to have to be somebody on your team that has to play into Death Guard. You need, the Silent King with Ignore Mods is still good. -1 damage still really hurts Death Shroud Terminators.
Absolutely.
Like Star Shatter has got the tools to beat it quite handedly. You've got damage 4 all over the place, damage 6, whatever. You've got definitely the tools you need for Death Guard,
Yeah,
and it still works. And the Wraiths are just really, really good into a lot. They're not as good into Death Shroud as we said, but you do have the ability there to kill. You can play a slower game and
yeah,
kill what you
yeah,
need to kill. Wraiths will tank an Emperor's Children squad in combat or shooting, as long as you don't give them a precision.
yeah.
Because that's I have fallen victim to the precision melter gun into my Technomancer, so it
Oops.
does happen.
But this is where Awakened maybe might be the key because then that one
He'd
time you
already
do
been
make
rezzed.
very well.
He'd already been rezzed once, but I was
So you
playing
made the
Waller's
mistake
list.
twice then.
No, I had to come out into the open. It's WTC board, so it's really difficult to hide one of your characters far away. Like, that's just how it is with wraiths. You
Yeah.
can't hide your character far enough away to when you're in the middle.
I mean, the other option is, of course, if one warrior squad's not enough, is to run 2 warrior squads and really make them worry.
Yeah, I guess. But then if you don't have the damage to
Yeah.
kill,
You're not killing anything that entire
yeah,
game. Right?
that's
So,
why it's kind of falling out of fashion. I mean, we've got so many different builds. We can try a lot of different stuff.
yeah.
Um,
I think at the moment, with all the books coming out and the fact that there's going to be so many different builds of armies, because everyone's going to be looking at it, this detachment's really good, or we're going to try all of these units. At this point, I feel like just playing an army, like a Necron build that you know, is probably the best way rather than trying to chase new builds, trying to guess what the meta's going to be when we have absolutely no idea how it's going
Yeah,
to turn
because
out.
there's a lot of people in the discords that I'm a part of that are all constantly asking, like, what's the best thing for Necrons? Where are Necrons at the moment? What should we be doing with Necrons? Like,
Just
figure it
play
out
what you
yourself, and just play what you want to play. Don't
yeah.
unless you're really involved in the top end of the meta. It's not like you just play what you want to play. Unless you're constantly looking in a team environment where you need to build for certain stuff, Necrons can still build good all-rounder lists that will be able to play into everything, because knowing your luck, you just won't play into. You'll build to beat Death Guard. You're like, this list is sick to get Death Guard, and then you'll play 3 games against something that's not you're not built to play into.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing to bloody GSC somehow 3 times. All 3 GSE players of the weekend will be at this one tournament, and you'll play against all 3 of them.
I mean, if you look at all the lists that are doing quite well in Necrons, Ophidians aside, all of the data sheets in there are pretty solid. So whatever you kind of want to put in there is probably going to work in some respect. It's just, do you know how to use it in your list specifically? And then,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the most important thing I think right now.
Yeah, and now that I'm coming off the Awakened hype and I've finished riding that train, I'm going to be doing a lot more tests with a lot more different lists, so we'll be able to talk about a lot more different things. Because I know we've been very focused on one thing, so it'd be good for us to explore the whole book again. because
Yeah,
I like when it's like this. I like there's a whole new meta, a whole new card system coming out and such, so where we can fully explore the whole book together. And hopefully, with fingers crossed, we are one of the people that get a new detachment in the data slate because they said that it's somebody that's already got a book. And obviously, we got Grotmus, but fucking everyone did. So it'd be really cool if we got like a new detachment. I don't know what it will be. Don't know what
yeah.
they could focus it around.
It's
But
hard to work that one out because we've got a destroyer one, we've got the silver tide one with the awakened, we've got the vehicle one with Star
mhm.
Shatter, we've got the weird Praetorian if we're on the Cryptic Court, and
Yeah,
Hypercrypt, whatever the fuck that one is.
so there'll
So
be hopefully, if they do make one, there'll be something cool that they can think of.
it would be nice to have one which directly buffs our output with strats. So not like Star Shatter where we've got to stand on an objective. One where we've got a strat for plus one AP or
We
crit
get Lance, we
or
get
lance or
lethals.
sustained fives,
Yeah,
or just some way of giving
advance and
us
charge. Give us advance and charge.
give us sustained and lethals on a unit, or yeah,
Yeah.
advance and charge would be so nice because we just don't have it.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
so this I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've had some people, like, oh, I'm quitting Necrons. I'm done with them. They're not working out for me. I can't play the Warriors or whatever. Try something else. Like, you don't fall into what everybody else is playing. Play what works for you. I like the Warriors is just gels with me really well, so that's why I just know how to make it work. So that's why I like playing it. And when it is strong, then I just play what better than I probably would if I was playing something like Andy
yeah,
plays Hypercrypt much better than I do. So even though I do like the jumpy around stuff still, it's just personal preference. So just
yeah,
will be obviously once I've been testing some games with that as Thousand Suns, some games as Emperor's Children. You've been playing Death Guard. Will be we could probably do like a. I mean, I know our award does this, but we could probably do sort of more of a detailed video about what to do against these certain factions. I think that would probably be a good idea.
yeah. We have to give it some time to
Yeah.
actually see what they're
Well, we'll
producing
learn. Yeah, we'll see
and
what they're doing, and
iterate our lists.
we'll do like a proper PowerPoint or something. But whereas like Art of Wars is know your faction,
Hmm.
but it's for overall. We'll be like, okay, know your faction for us for like Necrons exclusively. How are Necrons going to deal with these certain things?
We also
And
keep threatening to do all of these other videos, so we never actually get around to doing
yeah,
them.
well, yeah,
We
we'll
have
keep
to
them
work
in.
on that, 100%.
We are trying. It's just a very difficult schedule to line up where we both work opposite shifts almost. So, and I didn't realize. I thought I had a game booked tomorrow, but it's booked today. So that's going to be happening later on, very shortly. So this one is going to be a short one.
Is it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, in about I don't know, in a bit. He messaged me and I was like, oh,
Cancel.
yeah. I was like, oh,
Cancel.
I can't. I literally can't. I literally can't. Because it would be a forfeit for my team. I need to beat some Emperor's Children. So what am I going to do against Emperor's Children? We might as well talk about that for a little
So
bit.
you're
Because
playing Warrior Build, right?
I'm playing Warrior build, my normal build, the build I'm taking to Germany. Why am I taking it to Germany? I'll cover that first. So I'm taking it to Germany because I
You're
don't want to
lazy.
just yeah, I'm
You
lazy.
can't be asked to
Well,
change
it's
it, even though you
because
know the meta's going to be Death Guard and
yeah,
Votank,
it's
which
going to
are
be Death Guard, World Eaters, Votan. I don't
incredibly
care.
hostile. Oh my
I
God.
don't fucking care.
Well, I'm
I'm
for
still
it.
gonna just win. And you know what? I'm taking it because I played probably 100 games now with this detachment, with this army, with this list. I've played a lot of games and I know exactly how it works. And I feel like if I just swap to Star Shatter or something that I think is going to be good, I'll just perform worse. So I just want to do one last outing of Necrons Warriors, see where it's at,
One last hurrah.
see yeah, see how bad it can really get because it can get absolutely horrible. It can be terrible, and it's GW terrain as well, so it's not the best.
Well, if it was me, I would run out one of my field campaign characters and the Warriors and be like,
I've already
"Come
looked
on,
at it all. There's plenty of spaces to hide.
come on,
There's, I can just do what I want. So yeah, I'm taking that just because I'm comfortable with it, and then I'll do a full run through and give my feedback, and I'm gonna try my best to take photos, but I probably won't.
I mean, I took photos from the last event, the GT that we went
I just
to, and
keep forgetting.
yeah. because you get so into the game at one point. You just, I mean, I even
Yeah,
set the reminder on the app
yeah.
to make me
The
take
harder it
pictures, and they've
gets,
got
like the
so
harder the
many.
game gets, the more you're locked in, or if you
Yeah,
pushed for time or something.
exactly.
So I'm
Or
playing
if
against.
sorry,
Oh,
if
go
you're
on.
a bad photographer like me, then
Yeah, I need
the
to find the
pictures
good
just end up
angles.
really bad as well.
So I'm playing against Emperor's Children later tonight. It's for the Stat Check League. I'm in a team with the Mind Goblin boys. I'm playing against Emperor's Children. I predicted a 12, which is a small win. I predicted that, even though it's triple Demon Prince. But I played Emperor's Children a lot now. I know how they play. I know how to play against them, and I've played probably one of the best Emperor's Children players that we have to offer, who's on my team. So uh, I
Who's
know
that?
how the faction Nas, not Mind Goblins,
No.
my actual team. Like played Nas loads of times. I'm comfortable now in the game, so I know exactly he can't one shot the warriors if I don't, and I can let him not, and he can only shoot with one unit if I keep outside of normal range because he has to advance and so on, and I can hide well enough that he can't get to my key pieces quick enough, and you can kind of bog down the demon princes because they're 0 AP on the sweep, so you just take it all on the thralls.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways to play around it. Just don't the flayed ones. They stay in my home field. They do not go anywhere. I do not give him a single unit that he can interact with turn one, because
Yeah.
the later in the game, I'm just going to keep it level the whole time because it's the ritual as well. So I can just keep it drawish by spawning objectives near my deployment zone, and then the more that I can just wreck up my primary, and then at the end of the game, I can just kind of throw everything when
Well,
he's still weak and he's not gotten many kills or
the
any.
other way of playing is to draw him out with a tempting kill, like one of your characters that's going to get back up with the feeling of pain, and then go, all right, I'm just going to delete your entire army, and it doesn't matter how many kills you get, you're not going to have enough units to benefit from these
Mhm.
sustained buffs you're going to get at the end
Right,
anyway.
you need to kill. It's the noise marines that are the problem. Like the noise marines are the real issue because they just sit at the back behind the rest of their army that's all pushing you into the deployment zone.
Yeah,
So you
but
just need the warriors to
the,
sit there.
the warriors and the Scorpex can clear out the front pressure from his infantry, not the demon prince, obviously, and then the DDAs can deal with the noise marines. And then if you string out high enough with the warriors, like really, really strung out, when the demon prince is charged, you just pull them out of combat. So they're just doing mortals and nothing more. So I think you could
Yeah,
win the game quite
well,
handily.
I think it's definitely winnable. It's just knowing how to play against it. It's
At the end of the day, there's
um,
still Marines though, and
yeah,
even Warriors with the reroll hit strat and Sarah's extra AP, they will kill quite a few Marines. Fall back, shoot, and then you can even charge back into the ones that shoot. If you can get near the noise Marines with the Warriors, then you can just start tagging them,
yeah.
and then
There's
he's
there's
in
there's definitely
trouble.
ways to play around it. It's a fast melee army, but it has restrictions.
Mm.
It's it can advance and shoot with one unit, can advance and charge with one unit. Just measure your distances. Make sure that it can't charge with one and advance with one and charge. You know, make sure your characters can't be precisioned. For anybody that still does want to play warriors in the coming meta, just the thing is, it's a really weird way of thinking about it because people will start to build for warriors and then they'll disappear from the meta, and then nobody will play warriors, so now people will stop building to kill the
Yeah,
warriors, and then it'll come back, and then so on. And it's
yeah.
literally done that for ages. It's just taken so long this time because Star Shatter was so good for so long, and everybody was, or for not for so long, but it was just the best thing. And then Hypercrypt was good,
It
and
was
nobody had really been playing it.
Star Shatter was new, so there was a lot to explore. Is it a shooting army? Is it a melee army? Is it a combination of both? And there's a lot of depth to that detachment that you could actually try in games before you make a decision on whether it's good or not.
Hmm.
So it might not have been as, I mean, Awakened Dynasty might have been better than Star Shatter all along, but the only way we find that out is by playing and trying out the new things with Star Shatter. And then Hyper, I think, is it's very meta dependent on whether it's good. If the meta's all big hulls, big shooting, lots of 12-inch deep strike denial, things like that, then it's quite difficult to play Hypercrypt. Whereas if it's all, like GSC, Hypercrypt loves GSC because they can't kill anything and they
Hmm.
can't stop you from going anywhere.
Yeah,
So
even with the sustained lethals, and with Hypercrypt you can screen really well. Like if you go first as Hypercrypt into
yeah,
GSC, then you just run everything out. You won't start on the board with much stuff. You just push all your tanks out, or your hulls, because they struggle to kill the hulls.
Mhm.
You just push them all out, and then they have a turn where they can move. Then at the end of that turn, you pick everything up that's needs to screen, and then you just screen the rest of the board that you can, and then they're just like they can 6-inch deep strike one unit, and then they're just segregated to the other side of the board.
And they're basically pushing on your front, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
and your front consists of massive vehicles.
Yeah, Vault Silent Kings with Feel No Pains behind it for all the dev wounds,
Yeah,
and
it's
yeah,
GSC are very very strong for a lot of armies, but because the meta at the moment is so like shit for for Hypercrypt, we can't really realistically take that as an answer for exclusively that when so many other armies are good into it. I mean, there's a world because if everyone wants to play Emperor's Children, if people are playing Hosts of Ascension, and like we're good into Emperor's Children, Hyperthic. It's good into that. It's good into Custody still. Um, it's going to be good into Thousand Suns. Death Guard not as much, but still decent, I think,
it's
because you've still got the DDAs and the Silent King.
they still move slowly and
Yeah, and you
against
still
slow melee armies, but at the moment, Death Guard are more shooting with
yeah,
melee
they have a
blasts.
lot of hulls. It's the Plague Burst crawlers. It's the 36-inch range drones that are strength 10, which are just fucking bonkers.
Ironically, Hypercrypt's probably better into Playbus crawlers than our other detachments because we run hex marks with loan up.
Yeah,
Um,
for
but
sure.
the thing is, in the meta at the moment, Chaos Demons and Knights, Chaos and Imperial, are up there at the top of the meta, and they are bad matchups for Hypercrypt
Yeah,
because we've only got so many screens against demons. You get basically one
Blood
turn.
Crushers are nasty. Havocs are nasty. The Bloodthirster that disappears into the sky is really good. Bellacor's great. And then they're running also 18 anti-vehicle beasts, screamers,
Or they're
which
on
are
the original detachment and they're deep striking within 6 and charging you with, flat eight,
yeah.
flat eight
Shadow,
damage melee.
yeah, Shadow
Or
Legion.
flat 6, whatever it is, yeah.
I think he is flat 6, yeah. What's his name? The guy they got. What's he
Yes,
called? Scarbrand. Scarbrand.
Garbrand, that's it.
Yeah, Scarbrand's really good. World Eaters are interesting, but
Historically, they've always
definitely
been okay.
they're just shooting at that. People
But
are running like triple Hellbrute, triple Forge Fiend, and then Berserks with some 8-bound. Like 8-bound have a lot of attacks, but not anti. They're not good against vehicles.
yeah,
Um, and I think those the Vault in particular is probably decent into that army because the Feel No Pain's gone, so you consistently kill 8-bound to the like each failed save is a dead 8-bound now
yeah.
instead of it's every 2 saves because what they pass a Feel No
And
Pain.
and so same with like CSM Bile with all the possessed and the chosen, three wounds each. Well, it's just like happy days.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of ways of playing. I think for how it's coming, but we'll just have to see how it goes. And obviously, I'm going to Germany this weekend, so we'll have another pod after that. Obviously, this has been a short one because we didn't have all that much to talk about. But again, and I completely forgot I had an important game I needed to play for this bloody league. So, but we'll do. I'm free tomorrow, so we'll probably do. We could do like start doing one of our videos, and we can release that. So we'll see
Sweet.
what comes of it.
Mm.
Yeah, but sorry for the short one today, guys. We will be releasing another one very soon. But thank you very much for watching again, and we hope you guys have a good weekend gaming.
Yeah, see you next week.
Like and subscribe.